Another Friday, another video. How about that? Every Friday, new videos just for me, really. It's fun hobby. Fun hobby. We did our routine. We shaved. I messed up the goatee, of course. Did the hair care, of course. And took care of the lawn. I don't care for a lawn much, but my father does, so I do that. And I took care of my ducks. They were living in squalor. I won't stand for that. But uh, generally, I have no plans for videos. I have an idea most of the time, and I free thought it. I feel like that's really best for most things. But we're a minute in, so let's talk about rewriting our history. When I look at my past, and this could be the same for you guys, there's regret. There's a lot of regret when it comes to certain things in life. But honestly, I feel as though that I heard a long time ago that regret showcases that you were willing to not let the same thing happen again. And I can't help but agree with that notion. You know, there's a lot of things I regret in life. I should have taken much more opportunities I was given when I was younger. But today's today, and tomorrow comes tomorrow. Um, I'm doing summer classes and I'm passing. Crazy. Actually need to do an assignment later, but it's a Friday. But I'm caught up. I'm caught up. I just need to work on my essay. And I could have taken more accelerated classes. I could have you know applied to more scholarships. In fact, I need to apply to more. I'm mostly using my own savings to continue on my college education, which is good. It's a good thing. Nothing like working towards something. But in this world, money is never really enough. But rewriting history. Why am I saying that? Because I did not have the confidence. It was a couple years ago, 2 years ago, really. And around this time, I went to the carnival with my best friend at the time. Uh, she was lovely, great person. We're not in contact anymore, but I had a huge crush on her. What can you do? I was 18, just graduated high school, and you know, yeah, of course you're gonna have a crush on a pretty girl, much less that you know her. But very childish. I know I could have handled it better. I could have been honest with my feelings, but you'll move on. I need to move on. And we went to the carnival, had a great time, at least in my eyes. But once you stop being in contact with someone, she was my best friend. I do hope she's great, doing great. You know, get that money. You get these feelings of I should have done this, I should have done that. Why didn't I do something else? I think it was around this time that She invited a guy that she that was her ex and all, and she didn't like him. She did not like him. So, but he came along, and I was super. I did not have the confidence to say my issues, but 2 years ago, what can you do? But I still want to go to the carnival. So what's next? Take a girl? Hell no. Hell no. I am not doing that. I don't need no woman. So do you guys. You don't need no woman. You don't need no person for those of other interests. I'll go by myself. My parents might actually want to go as well, but I might end up doing my own thing. I my sketch, you know. Interesting how like 2 years ago I took photos. As my thing. I took a lot of photos. My art was a secondhand thing that I always low key wanted to inspire towards. But you graduate, you don't know what you want to do. I didn't know what I want to do. I was in a gap years, or gap-ish years. I always worked towards education, but I think it'd be nice if I could sketch people in plein air. You know, I'm doing a lot of studying on impressionists. So Monet, Renoir, those guys painted in like outside, trying to capture the emotional intensity of life. You know, and it would be fun to do as well. I haven't really talked much about rewriting your history. 7 minutes in, but it's more of a way that I can get out my own issues. It's not like anybody's really going to see this. And if you do see this, you need to eat more fiber. Holy crap. But, you know, rewriting our own history. Speaking of health, speaking of everything else, uh, up until recently, I was 270 pounds. Like, I'm not like, I was really close to being 300. It was pretty bad. That it sucks how you're not able to control your body. It felt like I wasn't able to control my body. I, you're seen as this chubby dude. Is it's like I'm still chubby. I'm 212, 214, but I was able to lose like 50 plus pounds. You know, I was able to rewrite how I saw myself. I and really care for my health because I would eat sugar. I would overeat all the time. I would honestly use food as a way to cover up my feelings, you know? And that's why I can't really get into these other addictions, bro. I can't, like vapes, alcohol, the Zaza. I can't get that. I gotta get into that, bro. I can barely compose myself over a birthday cake cookie. But if you do have those addictions, you can rewrite your history. My weight, I was 100 pounds in first grade. I really remember that. I remember kids saying, "I'm 50 pounds. I'm blah 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 blah." Whatever poundage you are, like for a kindergartner, first grader. I was 100. I carried that weight throughout my entire life. I would lose weight here and there, but I didn't have discipline. I always hate when people say discipline, but it's really that. I guess it's the mentality, the mentalidad that you can change. I really wanted to lose weight. I really wanted to be this different person, and and from 2 years ago, and how I went to this carnival with my best friend who I had a crush on, and I could change that. I can change that person who I was 2 years ago because I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that same person. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I'm not the same person I will be in 10 minutes. And I do recognize that I could have done better. I took enough I is not I couldn't have taken enough account of her feelings more. But I don't know. But you never know. And I want to be a better person. I know I'm a good person right now, but I don't want to compare myself to something that seems like is unreachable. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. But you can rewrite your history. I'm not the same kid I was, the same chubby kid I was, and I'm not the same desperate, love stricken guy I was. Love can be really rough, especially if you have no experience in it. I still don't. I've only technically been on one date, but I can rewrite that. I could gain composure, go out, and ask somebody out. But for the moment, that's too much for me. That is too much emotional weight. And that's okay. I'll be ready down the line. So, what did we learn from this? My my little Mexican friends, my little Mexican Salvadorian friends, brown people, and all beautiful other races located on this wonderful earth. Shout out to Polynesians. Hey. What I'm trying to say is that no matter what point in life that you feel that you mull over, that you feel regret over, you can change that. You can work towards bettering yourself and in the end become a different person because you're already a different person because you're already thinking about a different person and you're already thinking about becoming a different person, and maybe that's what matters. you know Maybe I'll regret this video, but there's only one way to find out, and that's time. So go outside and look at a sunset, or go outside and look at the lights, because that's the best way to spend your time.